In the top stories, Federation reaffirms commitment to CELAC, $60,000 bail for convict who allegedly trafficked narcotics in Guyana, and rights groups say COVID protesters being detained in China. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today is Thursday, 26th January 2023. I'm Carla Barrage. We begin with news on the local scene. Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Right Honorable Dr. Denzil Douglas, reaffirmed the commitment of the government of St. Kitts and Nevis to the ideals of CELAC, the Community of Latin American and Caribbean States. He did so at the plenary session of the 7th Summit of Heads of State and Government of CELAC in Argentina. Dr. Douglas expressed his delight in welcoming back President Lula da Silva of Brazil to the councils of CELAC after a brief hiatus. Dr. Douglas highlighted the importance of strengthening democracy, the rule of law, and cooperation among countries of the Global South so that targets of the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development can be achieved. Leaders at the summit discussed matters related to trade and investment, climate change adaptation and mitigation, and building public health infrastructure in the post-pandemic era. St. Kitts and Nevis used the high-level forum to call for the removal of the economic embargo and other restrictions imposed on Cuba and Venezuela. These measures have adversely impacted the lives of the people of Cuba and Venezuela and have retarded their economic growth and development. Representatives of faith-based institutions in St. Kitts and Nevis are expected to have a greater voice on governance issues following a meeting with the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Ecclesiastical and Faith-Based Affairs, Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley. Dr. Hanley met with more than 70 officials on Wednesday, January 25th, at the People's Evangelistic Center at Neesmust. He told the gathering that the government was committed to improving the partnership with religious organizations and as such was pleased to follow up on his previous discussions with smaller groups by bringing everyone together for a general meeting. A new initiative mentioned involved sending proposed legislation to the religious bodies. Key outcomes from the dialogue include a commitment to proceed with the commissioning of a new cemetery in Sandy Point and comprehensive training of officials in the school's chaplain program. The faith-based leaders also fully endorsed the establishment of an annual National Day of Prayer for the nation and families on February 28th. The Deputy Prime Minister was supported by Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Housing and Human Settlement, Brenda Bonkamper. He also used the opportunity to introduce Elwetha Simpson Brown, the new Permanent Secretary of Ecclesiastical and Faith-Based Affairs. The Nyabingi Theocracy Order will be commemorating the 88th anniversary of the Buckley's Uprising with a ceremony on Saturday. The Public Relations Officer of the Order, Ras Aya, said this year's celebration will see 7 persons and their families being honored with a plaque for their involvement in the Buckley's Uprising.
It's the most of our honorary plaque we have gone out to. 7 recipients will receive the honorary plaque, and out of one of the 7 we gave honorary to our martyr who have able to stand up against the odds in 1935. His name is Thomas Fergus, and we say the family of the relative of Thomas Fergus will be the one who is receiving on his behalf, because he has been the one to face jail time in 1935 of the Buckley Uprising. So we say it's good to see that we have people of that magnitude who are able to stand up and fight for equality amongst social and economical affairs in St. Kitts and Nevis.
He also mentioned that the ceremony will involve speeches from government ministers.
There will be people doing poetry, and we'll be able to see people doing speeches too. So we'll have like Socrates in our midst as a Calypsonian giving his reminiscence, and we'll see like the Prime Minister make a statement, and the representative of the area of the constituency of number 3, Congress Maynard, will be making a speech, and even we as the members of the Nyabingi Theocracy Order will be imparting in what will be set in there, and we'll have refreshment after.
The Buckley's Uprising celebrations will be held under the theme Restoring, Recognizing, Embracing and Preserving the Legacy of Our Martyrs of 1935. And we're moving now to scene. days after crashing his vehicle into